Hello, and this is Dan Comiskey coming back at you virtually. I'm pre-recording this because I wanted to have an answer to the questions that were sent to me by Nicole, and I was really excited to get these questions because, frankly, they're great questions, and they allow me to go a little bit more. They allow me to go a little deeper into some of the coaching philosophies and things that I've used through the years, and I think there's some value there. So hopefully you get some value out of this, and I'll just start off by saying that there's three questions here, and I'm going to use. I'm going to give you three pieces of information that are going to cover all three questions, but they're all encompassing. Okay, so the first question is: have you ever encountered and overcome the sentiment of "it's always been done this way," and if it works, don't change it? So obviously that is a problem because people get stuck in their ways, and we talked about this where I was the guy who got stuck in my ways when I was playing football and decided I could only play football to have a living, and that could have killed me. And it's one of those things where failure happens when you keep on making the same mistake over and over again. So you got to get people to listen to that. How do you do that, right? Great question. Number two, how can we encourage a safety first mindset across all departments? Another great question. And number three, what strategies do you recommend for fostering a positive safety culture within our organization? So I'm going to give you, I'm going to just power up a little PowerPoint here, and I want to show you what we're working with today. So our agenda today is going to be based on three pieces of information, right? Number one is called the Coaching Continuum. Now it's my take on the Coaching Continuum. You can Google Coaching Continuum. There's a lot of information on it, but as I understand it and as it pertains to coaching people, this is how I like to look at it. Very simply, I'm a simple man. I'm an old football player, so we like to keep it simple. It's the way it goes. Number two is it's got a simple coaching method. And essentially, it's just a three-step method that is very natural, actually. What you'll find is you probably already do it with some people you don't even know. It's about being more active in terms of how you're doing it. And number three is a philosophy on picking your leadership, and that's the leadership in the field. And so to start with, we'll talk about the Coaching Continuum. So the Coaching Continuum is basically, as you can see here, there's a starting point and there's a life cycle of somebody who works with you. And that life cycle starts the day they start their job, and then it ends the day that they quit their job or they retire, right? Well, in the beginning, they're rookies. Now, people don't like using that word, but the reality is if you're just starting with a company, it doesn't matter how old you are, you're a rookie with that company because that company has ways they need to do things. They've got philosophies about safety, about production. They've got philosophy about everything that they do. They've got systems and procedures and everything's in place. And you've got to learn all that stuff. So even if you're competent at a trade, you still have to know how to do it the company way, and you have to know how to do it the safe way, as you can imagine. So rookies, what we find, they're at the beginning, and they have a life cycle. Through that life cycle, what we want them to do is evolve into active learners. And those active learners and active listeners and active doers who are actually going out there and they're following through with the procedure changes that they need to make in order to work with your team, right? To build that team together. They're following through with that. They're following through with your safety mindset. They're following through. They understand it. They're internalizing it. They're going with it. They're actively going through it. And if somebody starts out as a good rookie and then they go into an active learner, remember a lot of this is up to them. You can coach the hell out of somebody and not get any results because they don't want to be coached. We're going to address that as well later. So rookie to active learner, and then there's an old vet status. An old vet is sometimes where you hear that phrase, if it's always, why would I change it if I've never gotten hurt doing this before, right? What is it? The normalization of deviance. So if I've always done it this way, why would I change it? That old philosophy is usually an older person in the company, not necessarily, I'm not trying to be an ageist here, but just an older, like somebody who's been with the company a longer time. And so they've got that veteran status. And so when we look at that, we say, okay, well, so that's the lifespan of that person in the company. Of all of your people have this lifespan. And so all of them are different, and they're all in different parts of that lifespan, if that makes sense. We know that in the beginning, we know that as rookies, they have low maturity, right? They have low development and low skill sets. In terms of getting things done the way you need them done as a leader, they're going to be lower in all of those areas. And that's just the way it is because they don't know yet. And they don't even know what they don't know yet. They have to learn that. That comes with experience. And by the end, as you can see, we're higher in maturity. Our development's already come along. And we've really developed our skill set as well. And so what we know is That is the way it goes with everybody to a certain degree, no matter what. And what we want to do is coach the best out of them, if that makes sense. We want to get them, we want to work with them, we want to help them grow and coach them to be the best possible safe worker that they can be while they're producing. Okay? So the coaching method I want to talk about is very simple. It's 3 steps. And now we can get into a lot of depth about this. I can do a call about it anytime you want, but the reality is it's 3 steps, and this is how you base it. Step 1 is you want to find times to praise your people. Why would you praise your people? For things that they do that are good. Okay, so you're praising your people for things that they're doing well, for safety habits that they're learning, for procedural habits that they're learning, for correcting something that was wrong and fixing it. You praise. You find these opportunities to praise. When can you praise them? It's not just about getting the job done. It's not just about not getting hurt. What little things are they doing that you have to praise? Remember, all these little habits, these little safety habits we talked about in that keynote, it's the smallest little habit. What is it that you can do that you can do that one little habit, and you can improve your life, and you can make your life exponentially better, right? Create that domino effect forward. So what can you praise? You can praise habits. You can praise successes in the field. You can praise overcoming corrections, overcoming making mistakes in the past. All of those things, amazing, right? So now what if somebody is making a mistake? Well, the first time they make a mistake, second time they make a mistake, even the third time they make a mistake. I do like the 3-strike rule because it makes sense to me and personally, right? So that what do? We have to redirect. And what that means is we have to go back to the beginning of whatever situation we're in and start from there and learn how to coach our people. So that means we have to say it a different way. We may have to explain more detail of why that's an answer to that question, why that is the procedure, why that is the safest way to do it, what has happened when it's done the other way, what is the risk. Get into more detail. Redirect means you have to go back to the beginning of that little skill that you're trying to teach, and you want to direct them in a different way so that they can start understanding that it's just the way to do it. Sometimes it means bringing in another leader to help you. Sometimes it means bringing in another worker, one of their peers, having a conversation to help you. We'll get into how you pick those guys later. After 3 times redirecting, and if they're still, they're bucking the system and they're refusing to change, well, now we got to go right to reprimand. Now, reprimands should be concise, they should be professional, they should be direct, and they should be short, and it should follow the procedure of the company. So if it's a formal reprimand, it has to be written down. As I would advise everybody always, when you're in the field and you're working, you're doing any corrections, whether it's a reprimand or a redirect, even praise, you should try to find a way to make sure you write everything down. You got to obviously keep records of everything nowadays, and especially when you're talking about coaching people, because some people can't be coached. Now, most people can be coached. Most people want to keep their job. Most people, they want to be successful. They want to fit into the team. They love that. They feed off of that. Some people can't be coached. And if people are not able to be coached and they're going to cause harm to your friends, to your people, to your family members, to the people on your team, if they're going to cause harm, then you know what has to happen. If they're going to hurt somebody, then they should go before they hurt somebody. So how do we do that? Well, we keep a record of the praise, we keep a record of the redirect, and we keep a record of the reprimand, and then you follow your system. I've never been the guy that said that everybody has to stay on the team, because I believe that some people don't want to be on the team, and that's part of what we have to accept as professionals. So you've got to understand, when is that acceptable. If you have this little system that you're using, then it's very easy to see when it is acceptable. And the last part I want to talk about is I really want to talk about just an understanding or a philosophy of how to pick your leaders. Really simply put, in football, we used to talk about the 80-10-10 rule. The 80-10-10 rule was that 80% of the population are followers. This is unfortunately very true. Maybe it's fortunate, maybe it's the way we have to be, but 80% of the population are followers, 10% are leading up, and 10% are leading down. And so the people who are trying to pull your 80%ers upwards into that safety mindset, upwards into that production mindset, upwards into doing what's right for the team, upwards into making the sacrifices you have to make to take care of the people around you because it's the right thing to do. Those people are your leaders. Those people who are trying to pull your team up, pull that 80% up, those are your safety leaders. And you need to be looking for those leaders all the time. You need to be searching those people out. And they're not always going to be the people that are in the front of the room doing the safety meeting. They may be somebody that's quiet. They just quietly lead, but they follow all the right rules. And one of their big things is leading by example. It may be somebody who is very vocal, but typically the people you want to pick are people that are respected by, well, always, they've got to be respected by the crew for doing the right thing. Sometimes the crew will disagree with them, but they have to be able to respect them. And so you want to search these people out. And depending on how big your crew is, if there's 10 people in your crew, you should have at least one person. So you should have one person who's a safety leader that you're acknowledging and understanding and having conversations with as a foreman or as a leader in the company. Who are your safety people? And I'm not talking about your safety officers or your safety advisors or anything like that. I'm talking about like workers in the field that are getting their boots dirty and they're getting their hands dirty and they're out there working. Okay, so you need those guys. And you got to search them out and you got to find them. And you also have to identify what's on the other side. Who are your troubled people? Because guess what? Who do you have to coach? Those are the guys. Those are the girls. Those are the ones you got to coach. And so you want that 10% always working to pull the 80% up. And you want to identify who the trouble people are so we can spend some extra time coaching them, giving them the redirects, giving them the reprimands. Sometimes a reprimand does the job and they'll change their ways. So this is the way that I would approach the questions that were asked today about driving the culture forward. There's a lot more into helping people create habits, into questionnaires. I've got all sorts of information on that in terms of more specifically how to do that stuff. So I'm happy to share that. If you're interested, please reach out to me by my website and I'll send you stuff that I've got. Aside from that, once again, very excited that I had the opportunity to come out and speak with you folks on the 14th. And I'm sorry it took me so long to get this video ready, but I just wanted to put something together for you that could actually answer the questions properly. And it wasn't just a 30-second answer. Thanks so much for listening today and for watching this presentation on safety leadership and cultural change. If you have any more questions or would like to send me a note, send me a response, please feel free to do that on YouTube right here. You can also subscribe and you can also email me at my website, www.dancomiskey.com. Thanks again. Have a great and safe day and look forward to the next time.